Can the way you stand or sit give clues about your brain health? Now, this study says yes. In fact, researchers found that your posture, specifically how far your spine leans forward, might be linked to how well your brain is functioning as you age. So let's break that down, see what they discovered, and what it means for you or somebody you care about. So, this was a large study of over 400 adults between the ages of 50 and 89. Everyone went through two things: one, a brain function test, and two, a spinal posture check. They weren't just looking at slouching, they measured something called spinal balance, which shows how much the upper body shifts forward compared to the hips. So here's the study right here. This is in Scientific Reports in 2022, so not that long ago. And again, asking, does your posture impact cognitive health? Main takeaway, you see it right there. People with more forward leaning posture are much more likely to have problems and signs of memory and thinking problems, especially as they got older. Now, in men, this link was strong, even when researchers accounted for their age. The more the spine leaned forward, the higher the chance of cognitive decline. And the older the person, the more that forward lean actually mattered. So, for example, if a man was over 70 and their spine was leaned forward by 90 millimeters, and I'll show you an example of what that is, or more, they were significantly more likely to show signs of these cognitive problems. Now, for women, posture also mattered, but aged seemed to play an even bigger role. So, women with a forward lean of 70 millimeters, again, I'll show you an example, or more, regardless of age, were more likely to show signs of cognitive decline as well. So, what are we talking about? What does this look like? Well, here's normal. So the ear should line up over the shoulder, should line up over the hip, and there shouldn't be any forward lean. You want this plumb line or this line coming straight down if we dropped it from the ceiling. And so what the study looked at was, okay, is the ear lined up over the hip? Okay, is it lined up over the pelvis, the side of the pelvis? And you can see it from the outside. I showed you this one so you can see there should be three balanced curves of your spine that creates the healthy posture and healthy spinal cord. So this is an example of that increase in spinal balance. So any increase means there's more distance between the ear and the pelvis. So how do they measure it? So here is what we showed, for example, with the men, over 90 millimeters or more of this increase in the sagittal balance or spinal balance, where the ear, okay, the side of the head is 95 millimeters. This is a 95 millimeter example. This is 70 millimeters, like the example with women, or the finding with women. Anything over 70 millimeters or more, we're more likely to have the cognitive decline. And we see this quite a bit, don't we? This forward type lean, this increase in the sagittal balance. So in inches, if you're more familiar with that, so 50 millimeters is about 2 inches. And so 75 millimeters is 3 inches. 100 millimeters is 4 inches forward. And it just puts a lot of stress and strain on the nervous system. And that's one of the problems. Now, this doesn't mean that bad posture causes the brain problems, but it's a strong signal that the two might be connected. So what's going on? So as we age, it's common for the posture to shift, especially in the upper back and spine. And many times you might think, okay, it's just a part of getting older, but this shows that it might be more than that. When your posture breaks down, it can lead to balance issues, less movement, and even social withdrawal and problems, factors that can also affect your brain health. When you're moving less and the spine isn't moving and the posture's forward, that also means less blood flow, less oxygen to the brain, less, because the circulation is decreased. And that could also lead to the cognitive decline. And It's all about the brain, the nervous system, and what the posture and spine does to affect that. And here's an example of that. As we shift, as we age, this tends to happen. It's common, but it doesn't have to be normal, especially in the upper back and spine and the entire spine. You see how we start to come down, and the more that this gets forward, the more gravity has an effect. The more your body is struggling to stay upright, energy issues. And again, in this case study showed that memory, thinking issues, cognitive issues were more pronounced in people where the posture got bad. So it's not just about how you look, it's about how you think too when we're talking about posture. How can you check? So, what can you do? Well, one, start paying attention to your posture, or those are the you love. Yes, as we age, but then also as our kids, grandkids are on their devices more and getting hunched over more, we don't want them starting to develop these problems. And are these affecting their brain health? I can't say for sure, but if it's affecting how and impacting their nervous system function, their circulation, their digestion, all these other organ issues, because the brain controls everything, right? It does that by sending the energy down through the spine, the spinal cord, to every single cell, tissue, and organ. So if your nervous system is impacted, then your organ systems can be impacted too. So if you're noticing more of a forward lean or slouching, just don't think it's a little thing or not important, because it is. So to test here's a simple test to see if you're getting more of that forward lean, or how hard it is for you to even stand up with your back straight, with your spine upright. Here in this picture, I would rather have your feet out a little bit more, not right up against. So maybe about 2 to 4 inches, 5 to 10 centimeters or millimeters. What is that? Yeah, 2 to 4 inches, 5 to 10 centimeters out in front, away your heels away from the wall. You can try it with your feet back against the wall, but you can also have them out with that distance. And is your butt, mid back, and head able to touch pretty comfortably? Or can your butt and your mid back right between the shoulder blades, but then your head is forward? And this could be an exercise to help to retrain that. But we also want to pay attention to what the neck is actually doing, because we want to keep a nice curve in the neck in that. And I'll give you a resource here at the end that you can look at to make sure that you're supporting the normal natural curves of the spine. So where does this come into play? We want to stay active. We want to watch out how we are using our bodies, how you're using your spine throughout the day. You want to focus on your posture. Look at all these different daily activities that you're doing that, sometimes suddenly it can happen, but a lot of times it's gradually, where we're leaning forward more, we're bending forward more, we're staying in these positions, looking at our devices, slumped over to the side, sitting on the couch, we're bending over, picking up things, even, different activities like golf. If we're repetitively bending in a unhealthy position to pick up our golf ball, guess what? That over time, these repetitive movements on top of everything else is accumulating on your spine and retraining and training your spine to be in a distorted position. So that's one of the first things, or one of a huge thing that you can do, is watch out how you are going about your day with these different activities that you're doing, how you're holding your phone, shoveling, sitting on the couch, gardening, yard work, lifting things. It doesn't have to be heavy objects. It could be just, again, little things like picking up toys off the floor. You drop something, washing your hands. Again, here's an example where it's good posture, leaning down to pick up your golf ball, sweeping, sitting, making sure that, again, your head is not leaning forward. So these are all just good examples of everyday activities that we do, and that more than likely you do. So now we can modify those. Now, if you're already working on posture through exercise, physical therapy, or spinal correction, definitely keep doing that. If your posture is changing quickly, or someone's, or you maybe, or someone you love is having cognitive issues, maybe being more forgetful, get their spine checked. I'm going to link to a couple of videos here to help with your posture, to help with your movement throughout the day. And so definitely check those out. If you want more, a personalized assessment, if you want more personalized care, this study is a good example that we need to take our posture seriously. It's not just that we just need to stand up straight. That's important. It could be one of the clearest signs of how well your body is actually aging, how well your brain is aging before these problems show up. So I offer these posture and spinal mobility assessments where you and I, no matter where you are in the world, we hop on a Zoom and I assess your posture, your mobility. We also talk about, what are your goals? What are the symptoms that you're having? What are your top health challenges? So then I can guide you more specifically along the way of what is important for you to keep track of. And lastly, I'm going to link to my spinal hygiene mini class. And on one of these 4 steps, it shows you how to support your spine, how to support the natural curves of your spine. So it's not, sometimes when you do just the exercises without the traction or without this spinal remodeling part, then we can lose the normal curves. Yes, maybe your outer posture gets better, but your symptoms don't necessarily get better or go away, especially if we're talking about the brain and we lose the normal neck curve, we lose the normal mid back curve or the low back curve. So I'll link to that too in the description below. So in the meantime, hope you got a lot out of this. Make sure to like, subscribe, share this with a family member, a friend that is maybe dealing with, you noticing them hunching forward more, leaning forward more, need more assistance, cane, they're losing their mobility. So definitely share this with them. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And as always, this is all about helping you be your own guarantee for your health and your life. All right, talk soon.